you seen that girl? She is so pretty even though she's dark. Hold on, what do you mean even though she's dark? Why is that being said as if being dark is something you have to overcome? You see what I mean? That's backhanded compliments 101. Backhanded compliments like this shows exactly how much propaganda we have fallen for as a collective. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Maryam, and on this channel we talk about all things fashion, lifestyle, self-love, and also a bit of South Asian culture. And in today's video we're going to be talking about propaganda I am no longer falling for as a brown girl, and you shouldn't either. First one is a very popular one and the most damaging one in my eyes, and it is Log Kya Kahenge. What are people gonna say? This has honestly shifted generations, placing your worth in other people's minds whom you don't even know, whom you don't even care about, whom you probably haven't even met. It's a silencing tactic that makes community opinions more important than your actual truth. It's the perfect guide on how to live an inauthentic life. A life where you never feel fulfilled because you're not living for yourself, you're living for others, other people who don't really care about you. They just love to talk. It's basically just emotional blackmail disguised as culture. It's the reason so many South Asian guys and girls are taught to shrink themselves. Be small, don't stand out too much, because what are people gonna say? You've been taught that extrinsic forces matter way more than you, and that your worth, your sense of self, your sense of being comes from what others have to say about you. That's where we're all wrong, because like we've said before on this channel, your worth comes from the fact that you are an intentional creation of a perfect being. That's where it comes from. It doesn't come from XYZ person's opinion of you. And when you start living authentically, and when you start living in a way where you don't care about what Log Kya Kahenge, people will label you that you're too much, you're too modern, you're too bold. That's because they're feeling threatened by your self-assuredness. They don't have that. They're lacking that. And then when they see you have it, it makes them feel small. And so they need to label you things that will make you not want to do what you're doing, which is living authentically. Let's talk about the worst brand ever in my eyes, and that is Fair and Lovely. That was also recently rebranded to Glow and Lovely, but the damage is the same. It's basically colorism and racism packaged in beautiful pink tiny tubes. That's my definition. How many TV commercials, how many TV ads have we seen growing up of a girl not being fair-skinned, suddenly which she becomes fair-skinned by using this cream, and then she gets her dream job, she gets her dream marriage, etc., etc. She basically has success because of the color of her skin. And it's crazy how blatant and how direct those ads were, and it was so damaging that people right now are still facing its impacts. It's insane. It damages your self-esteem. It makes you feel like you're not beautiful because beauty is only when you have certain features or certain skin tone, when honestly the only people that benefit with that narrative are those big corporations, the big businesses, when they're able to capitalize on your insecurities, sell you more products so you feel better about yourself. But that hole will never be filled because it's still relying on what external forces have to say about your beauty. But when you actually love the way you look, knowing that you are an intentional creation of a perfect being, that's when you become invincible, because you know you're already enough. It's so possible to reframe your mind. So in 2025 and onwards, we're no longer falling for the propaganda of Fair and Lovely or any creams promoting colorism. We're not doing that anymore. And if you need someone to help you with this journey, subscribe to my channel. We're always talking about self-love. We're always talking about personal development. This is your channel to be. Maybe when you were younger, you weren't allowed to play outside too much because you were going to become tanned, and that fear stayed with you. Now when you go on holidays, you don't want to go to the beach because you're scared of getting tanned. It doesn't leave you until you actually consciously ask yourself, where are these beliefs coming from? Do I really and truly believe these thoughts, or is this something that's just been told to me and I've just ran with it for my entire life? Change your online narrative, because there are so many creators out there that look like you, who love how they look and they celebrate that. So you consuming that sort of content is going to help you with your mindset, especially when you're trying to actively make the change. This one is a classic. The fact that your worth, your sense of self is tied to when you tie the knot. It's tied to your relationship status, how well you're doing in your love life, and how timely you get married. That's where all your worth has to come from, or else it's the end of the world. It's the idea that no matter how much you achieve, no matter what your goals are in your life, it doesn't matter, none of it matters if you don't have a husband. And that expectation is more on women than it is on men, especially in South Asian culture. We're taught to aspire to marriage. and not choose it. We're taught to have realistic standards and not ask for too much. We're taught to be very small when it comes to marriage. The whole romanticizing of self-worth based off your relationship status has to stop. As a collective, we need to stop doing that. Marriage can be so beautiful, but it's not your certificate of worth. It doesn't add to your worth, or it doesn't take away from it. It's just a part of you. You don't need your other half to be complete. You are complete. You are whole right now. Now let's talk about my favorite topic, boundaries. However, over here we're talking about it in a way where boundaries are seen as a very negative thing, aka the guilt tripping behind saying no. You're mean for having boundaries. You're too much. You're doing too much when you say no. Remember, having boundaries is an act of self-respect. It's not an act of being mean or rude or being cruel. It's only an act of self-respect. But for some reason in South Asian culture, saying no is automatically paired with being selfish. If you're thinking about yourself, you're automatically too selfish. Whereas it's normal to want to honor and respect yourself too, but that is seen as too much in South Asian households. How dare you think about yourself? Especially if you're a woman, especially if you're a brown woman, if you think about yourself, it's deemed as you're doing too much. You shouldn't think about yourself. You should only think about your family, your kids, other people, not yourself. It's as if you're only born to serve others. We're conditioned to be agreeable, keep the peace, don't say too much, don't speak your mind. Make sure everyone else in the room is comfortable. Don't think about yourself. Think about everyone else, even if it means betraying ourselves. Like, that is seen as a norm, and it's so damaging. And I don't want you to ever do that or feel that way. Because here's the thing about boundaries. If you lack boundaries, even the quote-unquote nice people in your life will take advantage of you, given the opportunity. Because that is the path of least resistance. They don't have to think or do much. They know you're always going to be constantly available for them. So if you don't place boundaries, if you don't place resistance in the form of boundaries, you will be taken advantage of all the time, even by the nicest people ever. Boundaries is an act of self-care, it's an act of self-respect, and if you lack them, it's going to be a problem. Having boundaries does not make you unkind. It makes you emotionally responsible for yourself. Final one, being self-sacrificial is glamorous. You and I both know, in South Asian household, especially for women, the glorification of suffering is so real. Women always talk about how much they've had to suffer, and they wear it as a badge of honor. Our mothers, our grandmothers were praised for the suffering they endured. It was a praiseworthy thing, like, wow, you've done amazing. When actually the conversation should have been, where's your self-worth? Why aren't you speaking up for yourself? The conversation was never the right one. The right conversation was never being had. It shouldn't be about how amazingly you've taken all of this in and you've endured all of this when you shouldn't have to do that in the first place. The conversation should have been, why didn't you say no? Why didn't you stop it? Because that's what self-worth, that's what self-love is. That's the conversation we should be having. There is nothing glamorous about being self-sacrificial. There is nothing glamorous about giving so much away of yourself that you have nothing left for yourself. Nothing glamorous in that at all. But here's the thing, it benefits society for women to be super self-sacrificial. That's why their narrative is glamorized. That's why it's praised, because they want that positive association. They want you to do more of it because they benefit. Alright guys, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Comment down below your favorite part. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!